Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about where I was last week. So stay tuned. So actually, I'll be dividing this video into two videos because last week was an extremely busy week for me and I was places. So I started my journey on a Saturday before because if you know, there have been a lot of problems with flights within Europe. I guess within the world, they're having staff shortages and whatever. So people are like losing their luggage. Flights are being delayed. Flights are being cancelled. It's just a total disaster. So I said, you know what? Let me travel a couple days ahead of time. Maybe I'll get enough time to see the place before I had to actually be at work. I went to Reggio Calabria in southern Italy, and what a beautiful place it was. I had to travel through Milan, so I had to stop off in Milan and then my connecting flight to Reggio Calabria. Reggio Calabria is in the south of Italy, and it reminded me a lot of the Caribbean, whereas the temperature is very warm. They also have these nice cooling breezes from the ocean, and it was just such a pleasant time. I had such a great time there. So the first thing I want to talk about is the accommodation. If you've been to Italy before, you haven't been to Italy yet, then you want to pay attention to this. It's very often difficult in Italy to find a place that's very well renovated, modern, and an overall nice stay. Even though they say it might be 5-star hotels, let me tell you, some of those hotels are old, and they need to be knocked down and rebuilt. And they're not old but gold, they're just old and cold. Actually, that was not the experience that I had at Reggio Calabria. I stayed at this beautiful B&B, bed and breakfast, about maybe 5 minutes or so from the center. 5 minutes walk, by the way. And it was just overall really pleasant. The room was a decent size. I had a very large, like king size bed, also a balcony and a very modern renovated bathroom. While they still kept some of the older elements that are very they still kept some of the older elements that are very native and cultural to Italy. That is like a bidet, but they have these strange toilets where the toilet tank is really high up. The toilet tank is really high up and the toilet seat is really low down. I found that this is a very typical thing in Italy. They kept those elements, but they ensured that the bathroom was very well clean. It looked like it was almost newly tiled, like the bathroom was just installed. It was very clean. And it seemed very new. Okay, the color that they chose for the bathroom was not ideal, not a very modern color, but still, I really enjoyed it and I enjoyed my stay. They also had AC, which is really critical if you go to Italy during the summer, because you should know that it's going to be above 30 degrees and it's just going to be hot. And the AC in my room was pumping. I had a beautiful balcony that I could sit out in the afternoons and just enjoy a nice cup of tea before I go to bed. It was just a really lovely experience. So, the things to see. It's a very small town, so there isn't like a whole bunch of stuff to see, but one notable thing is they have this beautiful boardwalk that goes all along the sea, and it has 2 levels. You have down on the level where you're exactly at sea level, then they have one that's a bit further up and closer to the street. Both of them are beautiful to walk along, and on the opposite side of the road they have like these very large trees. Very notable. I'll give you some pictures here of these very large trees that really shaded the entire street. And they also had some art pieces along the way. It was a really interesting and enjoyable walk along the sea or along the boardwalk up on top. I really did. Even though it was super, super hot, you can definitely decide to take some sun or walk on the shaded side with all of the trees. As well as they had like many benches for you to take breaks. And let me tell you, I took breaks. The next thing would be the food. At my hotel, they offered actually breakfast. It's a B&B, so they had breakfast, and the breakfast was actually surprisingly good. They gave options for like fresh ham and cheese made there on the spot, and I really appreciated that because I've been to other places where they have these really interesting Italian breakfasts, these really interesting Italian breakfast style things, which are usually sweet croissants, marmalade, some kind of strange prepackaged toast, marmalade, some kind of prepackaged waffles. They also had those things, but they also offered fresh toast and ham and cheese. I really love the service in the hotel. And it almost made me feel like they were all family. They were all happy to see each other, and you know, like talking in the hallway, and they were super helpful, super friendly. Anyway, back, I was trained. So that was food. We're on the topic of food. I ate at several different restaurants while I was there. I'll give some pictures. Of course, you know, Italy is pizza, pasta, meat, vegetables, and because we were so close or really on the shore or on the coast, there was a lot of fish options, and I'm so happy to try fish options because I just love fish. However, I decided to try stuffed calamari. Now, the calamari I know is a little like they come in like circles, and they're a little bit chewy, and they're like really small things, you know. You have them for as hors d'oeuvres or whatever, appetizers when you go to restaurants. I'm like, okay, stuffed calamari sounds really interesting. I'm like, how are they getting stuff into these very narrow things? I'm really intrigued. That should be really good. I got stuffed calamari. I didn't know that calamari can be so big. It was difficult to eat because calamari, as you know, is very chewy. So yeah, but it was actually really tasty. I was really tired after eating halfway because you really need to chew it. But other than that, super tasty, super flavorful. I love going to Italy for the food. Like, I don't know how Italians aren't much bigger people because the food is so good and they give you such large portions, and it's always like a 3-course meal or 5-course meal. I'm like, how are you all eating so much food? And I'm always the one with the doggy bag, but that's fine. But it was an overall great experience, and I will definitely recommend anybody who's looking for a little small trip somewhere. Beautiful place to go. When you go to every city in Europe, there's a church, there's a city hall, there's a market square. Like those are the things you're going to find in every possible city in Europe. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all, in my opinion. Also, whenever you go to Italy, when I went, I made sure and I had quite a bit of gelato because I love ice cream, and the gelato is amazing, even though it was super hot. And as soon as you step outside, the gelato is just like, let's melt. But it was still amazing. After my conference that I had for one day, I had to head back, and because it's such a small city and I was really crushed for time, I had to take a train to another city, and then I will fly from there the next day. Also, that small B&B that I stayed in was very nice. It was actually interesting because I had to get in the door using a code that they sent me by email, and at first I thought it was sus. So basically, you got this link that they sent to you, and then when you click on the link, it gives you an access code to open the door. So you had to put in the access code and the door will open. Thankfully, after that, somebody came to greet me downstairs because, to be honest, I was having trouble translating Italian to English or Italian to German. It was a lot, but it was a really interesting way to get into a place. But I guess they do that for after hours. If you have to come in after they have left, you can do it on your own, which was really interesting to me. That night, I actually went to a butcher nearby for a quick bite to eat, which I thought was interesting. Like, you literally just go to the butcher and you decide which piece of meat you want, and they cook it up for you. It's a little bit dry. It was a little bit dry, but it was really good. And that's all I had for you guys in this video. As I said in the beginning, I'm going to be dividing this into 2 videos. So next week, I'm also going to be doing a video about where I was last week. So that would have been the week before, by next week. So stay tuned for that. If you guys do follow me on Instagram, that means you've already known where I've been. It had to do something with Berlin, and I think I should leave that for a whole separate video. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.